Hi guys, quick video here for Kaya Corporal, who asked the question, Paul, what does giving a 3-month-old heading dog pup free time and exercise actually looks like? So that's something we talked about in the updates of part 1. In the original part 1 of the blueprint, it was we pretty much just showed you Print being in the kennel or on the long line. We showed you how I introduced him to other dogs and a few other things, but everything was super controlled. And then we actually come back and said, look, Print did actually have a little bit of free time here or there, just to relax and burn up a little bit of steam. So as for what giving a 3-month-old pup free time would look like for me, would be in a dog-proof area where he can't come to any trouble, where he can't get out and get run over on the road, where he can't run away and disappear. Also in an area where, or watching him from a distance, so he can't start to learn habits like digging holes or chewing your deck to pieces or doing crazy stuff. If you leave dogs alone and you don't watch them and you're not there to control it, they'll do dog stuff, and dog stuff includes digging holes, chewing shit up, trying to dig out under the fence, trying to climb. If you leave a dog on its own and walk away, it's going to do dog stuff. And if you're not there to stop it, you can't stop it, and it all becomes a habit. So it's keeping all that in mind. So I know what you mean, and it is kind of important. It is good to do, but all within limits. It's about limitations and boundaries. So what it looks like is, what it looked like for Print was I actually had a deer-fenced, fully dedicated dog-proof area that I could put him into with 1 or 2 other dogs. And I started doing that probably when he was about 3 or 4 months old, and I did it for probably half an hour, once or twice a day. So I'm not there, I'm not with him, I'm not giving him commands that he's not listening to because he's not on the long line. And that's the big thing too, is when your pup's running around, leave your training and control for when you're training. When the long line's on, you've got control of them with the long line, they're not set up to fail, there's not those distractions around. And when you want to let them run and relax and burn off energy, just let them do that. Don't go out, let your dog pup off the long line and let it run around and then try to do a stop command or a recall command while the long line's not on. There's a saying that you don't have a problem until you give a command, meaning that the pup isn't disobeying until you give a command. So during these freedom sessions, it would be, and separate them. Separating freedom from control and cooperation. So don't get into a habit of doing your long line training and then getting back into your section and taking the long line off and saying, away you go, because that's really linking the long line coming off with no control. And you're setting that pattern. Every time the long line comes off, away you go, and the pup gets to run around and be an idiot. You're setting yourself up to be in a situation where it'll be very hard to get that off-leash control. However, if you have a proper separation there, and the way you do that is, this is where kenneling is important. 30 minutes of kenneling minimum either side of training. And the training session starts the second the pup comes out of the kennel. If you watch the blueprint, you see me, I actually open the kennel door, put the long line on while Print's still in the kennel, and he steps out of the kennel with the long line on, and he steps back into the kennel with the long line on, and then I take it off and I close the kennel door. That time with the long line on and when we're training, that's where I'm developing that relationship of respect and control and responsiveness to commands, my range, all of that stuff. And it's really important that I keep that time just that. If I start blurring the lines and I go, I'll just let him tear around for a while with the long line on before I start training, just let him burn off a bit of steam, now all of a sudden running around like an idiot, burning off steam, is connected and part of having control. You have to keep the two separate. There's a time for switch on, game on, staying close, listening to commands, control, cooperation, respect, attentiveness. And when the dog needs to know very clearly that when it's game on, it's game on. You know, and that long line's our first connection for that. And then being together on our own in our training area in that time and place is the connection for that. If you go out and always train your dog in that same area or one of the same 3 or 4 areas all the time, and you just go out and you have your certain tone and attitude when you do that, your dog knows the boss is engaged, we're out here, we're doing it, this is when I listen and stay close and do all of that stuff. And exactly like in the blueprint, all the way through for months and months, we do it all on the long line. Every time we go out into that area, every time I have my certain posture and tone, every time I give my walk in front command and my stop command, the long line was on, I controlled it, and it all just becomes habit and automatic to the point where when we take the long line off, we do it in the same place doing all the same things, and the dog just does the same stuff with the long line off. But the key to that is that's all I ever did out there. I never let Print cane around out in the training area to burn off steam and stuff like that. And I never connected him running around, not listening, being unattentive and doing what he wanted with that time when it was time for me and him to work together. I kept it 100% separated. And the way I did that was he only ever got that freedom in a completely separated situation. I linked that to another time. I kept the two sides completely separate. And so I'd always bring him home all the way back and all the way. I didn't even let him run that last 20 meters to the kennel. I never stepped back inside the section and went, all right, Print, you did good. Now you can run around straight off the back of training. I never connected the two. I always kept it 100% solid and steady all the way back into the kennel. Then I closed the door and I walked away. Left him there for at least half an hour, usually more. And then I come back out without the long line and just open the kennel door and let him out into the section. And I'd put him into the dog-proof area and walk away. Never give him a command, never say anything. And that's his time to have his run around and his freedom. So there was always that super clear separation between, okay, this is my time to run around and be an idiot. This is my time to play with the other dogs, wander around, lay in the sun, run around like an idiot, do whatever I want. So that's what it looks like, and that's the key. That's the important parts of it there. I hope that answers the question. Cheers for the question, Kaya, and I hope everything's going bloody good with your dog. And I'm serious about it'd be cool to come in and go for a hunt and all that when you're doing your thing in a year or so. Sweet man. See you later.